welcome for today's module. We have been studying about advanced construction. We studied about adverse soil conditions, how to do construction for the same, how to stabilize the earth. We studied about deep foundations, their construction process. So today we are going to learn about systems that are developed due to in response to the earthquake. Okay. So we know that in earthquake prone regions there is a lot of seismic movement happening. So how do we construct over there? So in our industry, especially in construction industry, it is said that there are no earthquake proof structures. Okay, but we can always delay the time. At the time of earthquake, we can delay the time for people to be evacuated from the buildings or the structures. So that kind of systems we are going to look into. Okay, so we will study about effect of the seismic forces on a structure. For knowing the construction, we need to first know what kind of forces act on a structure, seismic forces. Then we will study about flow of internal forces to the foundation. We will also study about twisting of a building. In such conditions, how do buildings move? They twist. We will also study about the effect of specific geometry of a building, the specific shapes, sizes and the geometries, and also the vertical layouts. Okay, we will also study about ductility. We will study about the systems that are developed in response to the in construction in response to the earthquake. Okay, so let us now try and understand first that what are earthquakes. Now we all know the basics of earthquakes, that there is a sudden release of energy which is there in the deformed rocks, which causes the ground to move or shake, right? So when let us talk about how is this energy being transferred. So usually the tremors that are caused at the time of earthquake, they are the ones that create seismic waves. Okay, so there are the various types of these waves. We will not fall into much detail of that, but let us understand that also every part of a country or every different place or zones have different amount or range of these seismic movements happening there. So every authority or every government will have its own regulations or guidelines for construction in that earthquake prone zone. Okay, so usually if we see India's seismic zoning map, so we have this kind of map is usually by the Department of Disaster Management of that state government in that country. So this map, it helps in planning for a natural disaster like earthquake. So in Indian seismic zoning map, it assists one in the identifying the lowest, moderate as well as the highest hazardous or earthquake prone areas in India. Okay. So if we have to build any high rise structure, so we will have to first look into the maps that are created by these authorities, so as to we check the level of seismology in that particular area. So this in turn, it results in saving life in the longer run. Now let us see the effect of seismic forces on structure. Okay, so how the movements happen at the time of seismic movement or seismic events. So there you all know about inertia, right? You have experienced inertia when traveling in a lift or even traveling at the time of traveling in a local train, etc. Right? So similarly, when there is a seismic movement, the ground is moving, okay, and the structure is steady. So that's why the ground or the bottom portion of the structure is moving. So here, if we know Newton's first law of motion, even though the base of a building moves with the ground, the roof has a tendency to stay in its original position. So that is the inertia forces in the structure that happen. So you can see here in this diagram, so there this soil beneath the structure is moving, because of which the foundation is moving apart and the basic structure of the columns, the roof is staying back, right? And then it will have the movements transferred along. Now we know the basics of how mass and forces and inertia work. So if we know, try and understand, if we have more mass, then that means there is higher inertia force. So that is why if we have lighter buildings, there will be lighter inertia experienced, right? So that is why lighter buildings, they sustain the earthquake shaking in a better manner. So how do the inertial forces flow to the foundation? So basically, if we see in this diagram also, when the earthquake shaking is happening, that time the soil is moving in one direction, the foundation is moving in one direction, and the roof slab or the walls and columns are moving in another direction, right? So that is why the experience of inertia is happening. That is why, while designing the earthquake resistant structures, the structural elements and the connections, they must be designed to transfer the inertial forces through them. Then it will take a longer time for a building to collapse at the time of earthquake. To understand this better, the example I mentioned some time ago of the local trains. So now we know when at any station, if the local train has stopped and it has taken a start for the next station, that time we feel the jerk, right? When the train is just started. So our feet are at the base or at the floor of the train, and they are steady, and our body has moved with a jerk. The similar thing is happening here in this case. Okay. Now there is a thing called as twisting. When there is the seismic movement happening, there is a twist that also happens. So if we see, and especially the twist is very less or equal to no in the case of buildings with lower stories or lower sizes. Okay, so single story building or 3-story building maybe will have a lesser movement as twist as compared to the building with a larger length or much more height. Okay, so if we compare this with an example of a swing, you can see here in this diagram that the swing, when the direction of forces is happening in one and opposite direction, that time the twist is not there. But when in case of the movements of the ground in similar condition where the length of the building footprint is more, that time it acts like a twist. So the one side of the swing you see has stayed in its place and another has started moving. So that gives a this kind of movement is also called as pivot movement. So we know what a pivot is. One point will be anchored at one position and the other point will be moving. So that is what creates the twist. The twist will also depend on the weight of a building as well. So when the weights are varying in different portions of the building, that time also the twisting is observed. So there are these varying types of twisting movements happening at the time of earthquake. Now let us see effects of varying sizes, shapes and geometry in the vertical or horizontal layouts of a building. Okay, so if a building is too tall, if it is too long, or if it is too large in its plan or the sizes, then the seismic movements are going to affect it more. Okay. Now let us see various geometries of the mass of a building, that what kind of effect will they have at the time of seismic movements. So if we have a simpler plan, it is always better in such zones, and if we have corners or curves in the structure, they are considered as poorer to resist the seismic movements. So also if the building mass has setbacks like this one shown in this figure at the top, then also it is bit unsafe. And then the structures who will have weaker, if there is a still floor at the ground, if there are columns at the ground for parking etc., and then there is the structure above, then it is also called as a weak or flexible story. Then if we have slopy ground, if the ground conditions are slopy, if there are floating columns in the structure or hanging columns in the structure, these are also considered as unsafe conditions. Then if there is discontinuing structural members like reinforced concrete wall which is discontinued in the ground story in this diagram, then that time also it is considered as bit unsafe. Okay, so what should be done in such cases? The separation joints, they make complex plans. So also if we have such joints which are much more complex in the plan, they will also be a threat to the structure at the time of earthquakes. In material sciences, usually ductility is a term that is, it is a solid material's ability to deform under tensile stress. This is often characterized by the material's ability to be stretched into a wire. So, in the seismic structures, the ductility is a property that does not allow the building to completely to fall, as well as does not allow the structure to regain its original position, and that makes it safer. Especially when the buildings are collapsing due to earthquake, if we try and see a few cases, the columns are first twisted and then the building or the structure is falling down. So, but many a times the building hasn't even fallen down, it has just twisted or broken in some parts. So, this is what ductility refers to. So our aim is to be increasing this ductility so that there is more and more time for people to evacuate the building at the time of earthquakes. So if we see the case of load bearing structures, we know that load in the load bearing structures is transferred through the walls to the ground. So if more load comes on the all the walls, there is possibility that the wall will topple down. So hence, in order to avoid it, there are certain kind of precautions. So there can be bands that are provided at different levels, such as at the roof level, lintel level and plinth level. So such RCC bands are provided at lintel level, slab or roof level. So at lintel level, the slab is provided in a panel or partition wall. They also improve their stability during the severe earthquake actions. So if we see the roof band, the RCC band at the roof level, it is the band which is provided immediately below the roof or the floor. Okay, so they need to be provided underneath reinforced concrete or brickwork slabs resting on the bearing walls. So these slabs, they must be continuous over the intermediate walls up to the crumple sections. If there are any crumple sections, they have to be provided till there, and the cover, and they should be covering the width of the end walls. Okay. So there are also such gable bands. It is kind of a band that is provided at the top of the gable masonry below the purlins. So if we know the sloping roof conditions, that time these gable bands are seen. So it also be made continuous with the roof band at the eaves level. So it has to be a continuous one. What it makes is it keeps the structure intact at the time of the seismic movement. So the section of reinforcement of the band. So the band shall be made up of reinforced concrete of grade not lesser than M15, or reinforced brickwork in the cement mortar not leaner than 1:3. Okay, the band shall be of full width of the wall and not less than 75 mm in their depth, and reinforced with the steel. So these are the various arrangements of reinforcing the masonry building which is having a pitched roof also. So if we see the basic structure of these bands, so there are these bands, there are these two bars between the member which is running throughout. Also there are these stirrups which are binding them together and not allowing them to move. So they finally increase the ductility of the structure. The hook of the links should be at least 60 centimeters. So there are such criteria which are more useful, especially in the case of corners. The bars should be overlapped to each other. So that also improves the ductility of the band or the structure. So in case of stone masonry, we have to ensure the wall construction with the thickness. So the thickness should not be more than 450 mm, and the round stone boulders should be avoided while construction. Instead of that, the stone should be shaped using the chisels and the hammers. So this gives a better anchorage at the time of movements. So use of the mud mortar should be avoided in higher seismic zones. Instead, we can have a cement sand mortar which is 1:6 in ratio, which is richer, or maybe richer than that can be used. Also, the lime sand mortars such as 1:3 ratio can be also used. So now if we see in this diagram, if there is this vertical gap between the two layers of the masonry, then it can cause the wall to split in between. So instead of that, what is done is we place a stone which is running throughout the width of the wall, okay, which doesn't allow that vertical split to happen. Okay, so these walls should be built in construction lifts and which are not exceeding 600 mm. So because we have limitations of the stones as well, right? So through the stones or a pair of overlapping bond stones must be used at every 600 mm along the height and at the maximum spacing of 1.2 meters along the length. So we have to provide horizontal reinforcing elements at times. The stone masonry dwellings must have horizontal bands. So these bands can be constructed out of wood or reinforced concrete also, and they are chosen based on the economy that is provided. So it is important to provide at least one band in stone masonry construction. That will make it safer. If we see the in RCC structures, the junctions of the columns and the beams, also the junctions of the slab and the column beam should be taken care of very particularly. If we see also the junction of the footing, right, the special confining reinforcement has to be provided at the junction of the footing. So that reinforcement overall length from each joint face towards the midspan and on the either side of the section where the flexural yielding may occur, like the movement might occur, so under the effect of the earthquake. So that time we have to take care of the special reinforcement to be provided at that place. So when the column terminates into a footing or a mat, the special confining and reinforcement shall extend at least into the footing or the mat. So that makes it much more safer or gives it more ductility. Also, if we see the number of stirrups or the links, they are increased at the junction. The number of stirrups are more at the junctions and less compared to the other parts of the structure, like a column or the junction of the footing and the column. So there we see more number of stirrups. So when the anchorage of beam bars in an external joint is to be done, there is this L-shaped overlap is done. The bars are bent in L shape at the junction and provided into the extra part of the beam or the column or at the junction. So there are also shear walls provided. So it is as we already know that it is a wall that is designed to resist the shear. So the lateral forces that causes the bulk of the damage. So there that we have to resist the shear in the earthquakes. So when a shear wall is built, it is constructed in the form of a line of heavily braced and reinforced panels. Especially the bracing that is done in shear walls is accomplished with metal brackets and heavy timbers or support beams that keep the wall strong and sturdy. So that is how the shear wall responds to the earthquake actions and keeps the building much more safer as compared to other systems. Also, care has to be taken while design that the shear wall is provided vertically as well as horizontally. In both the directions, it must be present. Then only it works effectively. Now, as a precautionary measure, there is a thing called isolation of the building is done. So there are these footings that are isolated from the building. We will try and see this method. So if you see in this diagram, in the left side you can see when in a normal terms when the earthquake is happening, there is severe shaking that happens horizontally, but at the junctions of the footing and the building, if you see the junctions at the bottom, they are the ones which are more vulnerable and they are the ones which break and the building starts collapsing. So instead of that, there is this seismic isolation bearing is provided at the junction between the footing and the building, which allows the building to still stay intact and move horizontally as one structure. So that gives less cracks, or it doesn't allow the building to collapse immediately, and gives again more span for the building to be evacuated, or the people of the building to be evacuated. There are also these friction pendulum bearings that are also much more helpful in such cases. These base isolators can also be seen at the junction of the beams and the columns as well in some cases. When there are if you see in this photograph, the basement columns supporting the base isolators are there. So there are these base isolators provided over there. Also, sometimes we see when there are flyovers, there is a lot of movement happening because of the heavy vehicles. That time also this system of base isolators is used. For example, at Bombay Naka in Nasik, the new flyover, it has these base isolators at the junction of the slab and the column, or the beam and the column. Then similarly we have dampers. Now dampers, they are usually the members that are tied diagonally in the structural frame, right, from the one column beam junction to the another level's column beam junction. So they also avoid the lot of shock or movement of the structure. So we have these three different types, like viscous damper, friction damper, and yielding dampers or metallic dampers. So the viscous dampers, they are a form of shock absorber that are designed to reduce structural damage to buildings caused by earthquake, as we know. So here they are placed diagonally. If we see the friction dampers, they are provided in two-way direction in the diagonal manner. And the metal dampers, they are provided in the way we have shown in the diagram. So the ill location of the metal is the one that is helping the structure to move in a specific manner and to be little safer as compared to the other systems. These dampers are usually constructed on the external facades of the building, and they keep the building safer. So these are the various ways to increase the ductility of the structure and allow the structure to fail in a lesser manner, or give it more and more time for people to be evacuated at the time of earthquakes. Okay, so let us now proceed to the book part and understand more about all these systems.